Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Grand Cruise Astrology. My name is Clayton Cruz, and today I'm going to talk to you about Mercury retrograde. Starting off retrograde this week, in the middle of the week, in the sign of Scorpio, then tracking back to the last couple of degrees of Libra, and then stationing direct and heading back to Scorpio. Now, as I've talked about retrogrades in the past, there's a shadow period with retrograde. We've already been in that shadow period for a few weeks. So again, the shadow period is when Mercury is tracking forward in the sky in the same degrees that it's eventually going to go retrograde and go retrograde back through, and then going back through again for the third time, tracking back through that same part of the sky. So it goes forward, it goes backward, and then goes forward again. Now, from a geocentric perspective, as Mercury gets closer to the Earth, it makes a loop formation. And so it goes forward and then it loops back and goes back over where ground that it's covered, and then it goes back forward again. So what does this mean? It just means that if you think back to late September, about that last week of September when Mercury was hitting those last degrees of Libra, you can see that's where Mercury is going to track back to. So there is a little bit of a rehashing of time, if you will. And so whatever was taking place back in late September, we will be rehashing that once we get into the last week, about the third week of November when Mercury gets out of shadow. So, all right, so Mercury in Scorpio, what does it mean? Well, Scorpio is about the depths. Scorpio is about digging all the way in to the core and extracting that which is false or untrue and expelling it so that we are left with only that which is pure, only that which is the gem that we carry forward. It's a process of transformation. It's death and rebirth. It's a snake shedding its skin. That's what Scorpio is all about. And so when we have Mercury there, Mercury is a very mental energy. It has to do with communication. It's very quick. It's very fact oriented. It likes to deal with figures. Mercury is about how we perceive, how we connect, how we communicate. And again, it's very mental. So the challenge with Mercury in the sign of Scorpio is that, how do we communicate these depths, these experiences that go so deep into the core of who we are? How do we communicate that in words? How do we put language to that? That's the challenge with Mercury and Scorpio. And so just Mercury and Scorpio by itself is already challenging enough. When you have Mercury retrograde in the sign of Scorpio, it makes it that much more interesting because we have a Mercury retrograde. We have Mercury when it goes retrograde, its proximity to the Earth is close, right? And so that creates a buzz of mercurial energy. It creates an overload. It kind of it overcharges the circuits, right? It just blows them out a little bit. And so we have a lot of things in our environment that tend to go haywire when it comes to technology. A lot of little glitches happen. It's too much. It's an overload, right? Because of these kind of mercurial experiences that we have in life. And so when we have Mercury, an onslaught of mercurial energy, the things our consciousness mentally and interactively, communicatively may speed up because that Mercury energy is there. It's charged. We may want to feel like we want to move at a faster pace mentally, but with Mercury, going direct or going retrograde, that's not available to us. The avenues are not there. We cannot push that mercurial energy through the circuits, right? They get blocked, they get jammed. It's too much, right? And we were talking about Mercury in the sign of Scorpio. It is going to be, it kind of denotes us trying to communicate in a very quick, efficient, and palatable fashion experience that is at the depths, experience that is at the core, experiences that we do not necessarily have a language for. We may be trying to communicate that. And it is going to be very easy to, first of all, not fully express that which we're trying to communicate and be misunderstood, and to misunderstand any information that's coming in to us, right? It's going to be very easy to look at that first layer and derive meaning and truth from that, because our mind is going, and our faculties are going to be working very quickly, but it's not going to be accounting for the other layers of the onion. And when you're talking about Scorpio, Mercury and Scorpio, you're talking about an onion with many, many layers to it, right? There's a lot to shed here. And, the astrological advice with this Mercury retrograde in the sign of Scorpio is to just be aware that what we may be experiencing, what we may be communicating or having communicated to us, may be only the surface layer of what is actually true for us and what is true for others in communication with us. So just be aware that this energy is at play. And to take any kind of hardcore judgments that we have about anything, just understand that it is there's more to the story, more than likely, and time will reveal that, right? And so if that wasn't enough, we also have Uranus in opposition to Mercury and Scorpio. Now, with Uranus in opposition to Mercury and Scorpio, Uranus is in the sign of Taurus, right? It's been there for a couple of years, and it has really been doing some revolutionary like innovation to our value systems and our what we feel we need to have in order to feel secure in this world, the material comfort zones that we have created in this life, right? Uranus is going through there and really updating. And at times it can be very sudden, it can be very fast, lightning out of nowhere. That's what Uranian energy is. And so we've been feeling it. It hasn't been comfortable. It's been like, a metaphorical earthquake to some extent, okay? And so again, here we have Uranus being activated by Mercury because it's going into opposition with it. So, Uranus is there, just it's doing its thing, but when it gets into aspect with another planet like it will with Mercury here, we can expect Uranus to come online and to be in full expression in some kind of way. So that there could be a desire with this Mercury stationing retrograde across from Uranus for us to really try to communicate that which we feel we either are holding on to or want to maintain, because Taurus energy is very much about maintaining, the status quo for ourselves, that which is our comfort zone. We may be feeling attached to that, wanting to maintain that, and wanting to keep that in balance. Or at the same time, we may be wanting to update that, and we may be trying to communicate how necessary it is for us to innovate, progress, advance, right? These parts of our lives that need to be updated and advanced and put on a new playing field, right? And so this can all be happening, and there could be a real charge to want to communicate this need or this desire to connect these ideas and to put them out there, and to just, we're going to want to flood the circuitry with these profound truths that we are feeling, that are coming up within us, that have really, really deep core values. And it could also be that we are trying to communicate that which we want to get rid of, because it is a process of death and rebirth, right? So it's a very, very deep process, but the process is moving at a speed that is going to be a little bit too fast for it to be palatable for and efficient like Mercury would like. No, it's very, very likely that this could get a little messy. All right, so expect that it's going to be messy out in the world. We have other aspects that are going to be in play. We have a new moon that's coming up. It's going to be it's going to be rocky, and then there are other aspects in play too. uh, that are also setting a backdrop for what's happening right now. So there could be a lot of reshuffling and things that are happening. If we can understand it, is we are shaking things up and reshuffling, and things will find their place. Once we get third week in November, there will be some new normal, whatever the case, whatever happens. This Mercury will station direct. So it stations retrograde midweek. It stations direct right around the beginning of November, second and third of November. And so I know in the United States, that's right around election time. And so that has consequence, and that will have reverberating effects throughout society, no doubt. And so all I can say about that is, whatever the case, whatever the outcome, all right, astrologically speaking, there will be forward movement once we get into the latter part of November, into December, into the new year. There's going to be different energies that are not 2020 like energies. Once we get later into the year, toward the end of the year and into next year, it's going to be a whole new ball game. Whatever outcomes we're dealing with, it's going to be different. There's going to be a new energies coming in. So I kind of see what we're dealing with right now is, for the next month or so, is sort of a capstone for 2020. 2020 has been a crazy year astrologically, and I haven't been overly dramatic about that, because I've been wanting to stay very calm and keep things in perspective. But we've come this far, and that is no small thing. That's huge, because 2020 was not designed astrologically to be easy. It was designed to have a lot of upheaval, a lot of transformation, and to be very profound, and to have a lot of consolidated change. So we're coming to another culmination point with that here over the next month, and with this retrograde. So just be aware that we're in that process. Now, the astrological advice for this is to understand first that whatever we are speaking and whatever is being spoken to us, whatever is being communicated, whatever communication we are receiving, it is likely just the tip of the iceberg. There is probably far more to what is being said by us and what is being said to us than we are able to cognize right now. And so just be aware before we make any solid judgments about whatever is happening, and whatever we are truly feeling is the truth. Just give it a little time. Let some of these layers of the onion peel back and reveal more, because it will. Once we get in the latter part of November, we're going to have a much clearer picture of what's happening now. Because what's happening now is we are getting to the core. We are getting to the depths of our own psyche, our own internal dynamics, and we are sucking out the poison. And so that we can reinvent ourselves with that help from Uranus there in Taurus, and come out of it brand new. Okay? It is a very profound process, and this is a process that we should not waste. I don't advise it. I say really take the deep dive and go into it, because Mercury and Scorpio, especially going retrograde, this is about digging to the depths of our psyche, digging into the depths of our unconscious, that which motivates us, that which spawns our actions and behaviors and our communications and the things we say and the things that we think, right? And so we are going into the depths of those corners to find out what is really spawning that. And so I say go with it, go into it. With Mercury retrograde going backward, it is asking us to go internal. So as tempting as it may be to look external and point fingers and get loud and, try to spill it outward, it's not going to be as effective. If we do that, we are really going to miss the opportunity that we have to go internal, point the finger inward, and really transmute that which is ready to be transmuted, and to really be very thorough about it. We're going to miss that opportunity if we're too outwardly focused. Um, so, yeah, take this opportunity to really go internal and see what you can transform. That's it. That's the retrograde in a nutshell. It's very deep. It's a heavy hitter. When we're talking about Scorpio, we're not talking about lightweight energy. We're talking about heavyweight energy. We're talking about depth. We're talking about deep. This is not casual. This is big. Um, but it doesn't need to be big in a sort of global, into the world kind of big. This can be taken internal, and we can really have our own death and rebirth from the inside, right? That's what this opportunity is. So try to keep that focus there and understand this will pass too. And when it does, we're going to be brand new. And the the heights from which we can bounce really depends on how deep we can go and how far down we can really get into the depths, and transform, and to let go and release that which is no longer relevant, right? That's the opportunity we have here. It is not for the faint of heart. And we are all here incarnate on this planet at this time. And so this is the gift that we have been given. This is quite an opportunity that we have. So uh, embrace it, I say, and do what you can with it. Do what you can to transform and come out the other side smelling like roses. Okay. So that's what I got. Now we do have a new moon that I said is going to be bumpy and providing even more opportunity for change and for growth coming at the end of the week into the next weekend. So I'll do another video about that. But it all begins with this retrograde, so we can start it here. So yeah, take this insight into consideration when dealing with anybody out in the world, and remember, it is our own process of perception that we are responsible for, and that which we are being asked to work with right now. So that's what I got. Yeah, embrace this opportunity and see what you can transform within yourself. See how high you can bounce. So that's what I got. Hope this was helpful. See you on the next video. Bye.